clip shown is from famous movie 3 Idiots, in which the protagonist is flying a machine called Quadcopter. So what is a quadcopter? A quadcopter is a multi-rotor helicopter that is lifted and propelled by 4 rotors. So what are the important components and its functions? Quadcopter consists 2 pairs of identical propellers. 2 propellers rotate in clockwise direction and 2 in counterclockwise direction. These propellers are connected to motors which are driven by electronic speed controllers. Quadcopter use independent variation of the speed of each rotor to achieve control. By changing the speed of each rotor, it is possible to specifically generate a desired total thrust and desired total torque. Quadcopter also consists of a microcontroller. The microcontroller is just a small computer. This microcontroller is connected to different sensors that include accelerometer and gyroscope, which provides orientation information. A receiver is connected to microcontroller, which transfer instruction from remote control to microcontroller. All these things are powered by a battery. Forces and moments on quadcopter. 4 propellers produce thrust Fi in the direction perpendicular to the plane of rotation of propellers. This thrust is proportional to square of angular velocity of propellers. As the propellers rotate, they create reaction moment Mi on quadcopter about z axis. This reaction moment is proportional to square of angular velocity of propeller. Thrust produced by opposite pairs of propeller produce a moment mx my. This moment is given by difference of forces multiplied by length between the 2 propellers. And the last but not the least, the gravity force, which is always acting in the downward direction. The motion of quadcopter can be analyzed by Newton's second law of motion. For linear motion, force is equal to mass into acceleration. For angular motion, moment is equal to inertia into angular acceleration. Let us look some conditions of motion of quadcopter. Let's see how a quadcopter hovers in air. As a quadcopter is steady in air, it must be in equilibrium. All the forces must be balanced. The total thrust F1, F2, F3 and F4 produced by the propeller must be equal to the weight of the quadcopter, and all the moment produced must be 0. The governing equation of the motion in this condition is mr ... is equal to 0. In case of rise motion, the net thrust produced by all the propellers is more than the weight of the quadcopter. This results in upward motion of quadcopter, in such case mr ... is greater than 0. For drop motion, the thrust produced by all the propellers must be less than the weight of the quadcopter. Yaw motion is the rotation of quadcopter in horizontal plane. As stated earlier, 2 propellers rotate in clockwise direction and other 2 propellers rotate in counterclockwise direction. These pairs of propellers produce reaction moment in opposite direction. If the reaction moment produced by each propeller pair is equal and opposite, then there is no yaw motion. If the reaction moment produced by one pair of propeller is more than moment produced by other pair of propeller, then there is net resultant moment produced. This causes rotation of quadcopter about vertical axis. Pitch and roll motion is the rotation of quadcopter about horizontal axis. In this condition, the opposite pair of propellers produce unequal force, which causes net non-zero moment. This causes rotation of quadcopter about horizontal axis. For linear motion in horizontal plane, the pitch or roll angle must be non-zero. This causes non-zero component of thrust in horizontal direction. This force causes resultant moment in horizontal plane. Thank you.